Hello everyone, my name is KelSounds, and today I'm going to show you how to synthesize your own hi-hats. So I was watching Virtual Riot's live stream the other day, and he was talking about how you can synthesize your own hi-hats, and I thought that was really interesting. And so I took a deeper look into it and started reading up on it and seeing what I could find and how I could synthesize my own hi-hats. And in the articles it pretty much says that you can either use a noise generator or use FM, which I thought was really cool. I've seen a lot of people use Operator inside of Ableton. It's just an FM synthesizer, but I wanted to use Faceplant, so I want to show you how I went about making my own hi-hats inside of Faceplant. And so we have our Faceplant loaded here, and so I used phase modulation, which, by the way, frequency modulation affects the frequency of the carrier wave, and this is the modulator wave. And phase modulation affects the phase of the signal or the carrier, so it doesn't mess with the frequency, it just affects the phase, which I won't dive too deep into. You just kind of know that. But yeah, pretty much what I did was I grabbed a wavetable, and then I grabbed just like any generator. So I use an analog, or maybe you can use another wavetable. It doesn't really matter. So yeah, as you can see, the greater the phase shift, the more harmonics it creates, which becomes this very chaotic wavetable. And then I can show you what that sounds like. So I'm just gonna play a C3 here. And it still sounds like a synth, but if we add another one and do the same thing to the modulator wave, so I guess we're taking another modulator to modulate the modulator wave, which is then modulating the carrier wave. And so we'll crank up the phase. And as you can hear, it becomes very noisy. And so that's pretty much what I did to make my hi-hats. And then the rest is just post-processing and whatnot, and trying to get a cool sound out of this. So sometimes I'll use a shifter. Where's that at? A frequency shifter, or I'll use actually I was using an ensemble for the samples that I created, and I found that it created some very nice metallic texture to my hi-hats. So I'll go ahead and make a little MIDI note here. Delete this, and then I'm gonna put some reverb on this so I can make a tail for the hi-hat. That's pretty good. Then you can adjust the envelope. Probably turn this up a little bit just so you can hear it a bit more. And of course, EQ. So we'll add a high pass filter and cut out the lows so it's not so rumbly tumbly. Oh my gosh. And that's pretty much it, actually. You can adjust the attack time, the slope. And then what I also did was I grabbed another generator, so an analog, kind of pitched this up a little bit and added a quick transient for the hi-hat. I kind of mess with the harmonics a little bit. We detune it so it's not so in tune with the carrier signal. Make it sound more chaotic, so it sounds like a hi-hat, because hi-hats are originally, they're not very harmonic. They have a very inharmonic sound to them. So then adjust the gain a bit. And maybe actually what we'll do here is I'll add a distortion, and then I'll actually probably do some phase modulation to this carrier wave as well. Alrighty. And then of course the post-processing. So what I did is I grabbed an ensemble. Let's see, a chorus, kind of add some width to the hi-hat, adjust the rate a little bit. And then, or put it at 44% mix, and then the ensemble, I turn up the voices, and I didn't add any spread, so there wasn't any stereo information. And the detune, I didn't really detune it too much. I kind of had the voices closer together, and so it produced like this very metallic sound, which I'll show you here. It kind of sounds like a spray can in a way, which is really cool. And if you add two of these, the effect's even more exaggerated. And so that's kind of what I did to get that metallic sound for the hi-hat. Let's see, where's a slice EQ? Or I'll add another filter here. Turn up the slope. And as you can see, every time that I hit play, it sounds different. So it's not like a constant sound. And I think it's because of the voices moving around inside of the ensemble, and because of the detune. Even though the voices are not very close together, there's still some movement happening inside of this ensemble effect. And so that's why it has this very different metallic noise to it every time I press play. And then I did some automation to the reverb here. So I'll just do some quick automation with the reverb. That's kind of too fast. That's actually kind of good right there. And then to bring up the sound, you can either use a multi-band dynamics or a kilohertz dynamics. I pretty much used both, but I preferred the kilohertz dynamics. So what I did was I brought up the threshold for upwards compression, or upwards expansion. Sorry, not upwards compression. Then I brought the ratio to like, actually hold on, let's adjust the negative 20 is a good threshold. Then I brought up the ratio to around maybe 2, I think it was. Set the release to like a quick release, and then for the output gain I added 3 decibels, just the knee a little bit too. So this is what it sounds like without the dynamics, and this is what it sounds like with kilohertz dynamics. So it really brings out the sound more. And then just to kind of make sure it doesn't clip, I'll add a glue compressor. And there you go. Synthesize hi-hats inside of Faceplant. And different shapes, of course, will give it different variations, but it all kind of sounds like noise. But it all just comes down to tweaking these knobs and messing around with your sound to get what best suits you, or what your preference is. And like I said, I'll leave the samples in my Patreon, so if you're a member, then you can go ahead and download those. There's a total of 20 samples, but I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this was helpful, and adios.